What is the biggest mistake parents make? It's easy. It's spoiling their children. God has commanded you as a parent to raise your children up with discipline, with instruction. You need to teach them respect for their elders. You need to make sure they bring home good grades from school. As they get older, they need to get a job to show responsibility. You need to give them household chores, and they need to earn their allowance. I'm telling you, parents, unless you teach your children to follow the rules and to show respect and kindness and love to others, they'll never learn it when they become an adult, unless, of course, they have a deep conversion experience. But you have to be the one that instructs your children this way. Otherwise, your kids are going to have a hard time in life when they get out into the world. You know, there are two people in the Bible that were godly men, loved the Lord, but they failed at bringing up their children right with discipline. The first one is Eli, the priest. He was a godly man. He loved the Lord himself, but he failed at teaching his children to be disciplined people and honoring God. He failed at doing this. And we find in 1 Samuel chapter 3 that God speaks and says, I told him that I would judge his family forever because of the sin he knew about. He knew about what his sons were doing, but he failed to restrain them. You know, God doesn't take it kindly when a parent fails to restrain their children and teach them discipline and respect and honor and love for others. The second man is King David. Now, King David was a man who loved God. He wrote the Psalms. You understand? It's possible for you to be a praise and worship leader, to be a pastor, to be a priest, to be a minister of the gospel, yet you fail to teach your children discipline because you let them have everything easily without working for it. And David failed to teach his son Adonijah to respect the Lord. In 1 Kings chapter 1, verse 6, it says this: his father had never interfered with his son, asking, why do you behave as you do? And Adonijah, unfortunately, faced a terrible end. And that's what's going to happen to your children unless you raise them up and discipline them and teach them the fear and respect of the Lord, until you teach them the commandments of God, until you make sure that they follow the Lord and do what is right. And unless you teach your children that, they're not likely to learn it in adult years. And in the end, your children are going to face a gloomy life unless you teach them the truth.